I don't know if Snyder would smirk like that. No. In 2009 and even 2023, despite originally being second most popular Fourth Doctor in the original, despite initially coming second in the best Fourth Doctor story before eventually before returning to its original, but then topping the winner. And if there's one thing we can thank this story for including, oh, hang on, I think I've just seen that. There's a bit there that needs to. And also inspired by Matt Timeline's videos on that I would take a look. Although other accounts will be taking Counselor, not Chancellor, Councillor Quested. Nasgard himself was a soldier during the car. Yarvel said, "It's here Davros got stuck in the hand minefield. Minefield. Why did I say minefield? It's here Davros got stuck in the hand minefield. Minefield, not minefield. And when Davros would encounter his first Doctor, the 12th Doctor, aka PC. After teaching Davros about mercy, according to Last of the Dials, this takes place 2 weeks after Colonel Nasgard has died. According to Last of the Dials, hang on. But in the first episode of I Davros, titled Innocence, the week takes. So we got a bit of a time anomaly. So we got a bit of an anomaly. Why is there something wrong with my right eye? We'll get back to Colonel Nasgard's death later. Either way, Davros would meet the Dahl Elwyn, who tells Davros of a vision he had of him ending the war. Later, or earlier depending on the timeline, Colonel Nasgard is later, or earlier depending on the timeline, Calcula has turned shit. Later, or earlier in the Last of the Dials continuity, Calcula had Nasgard and Taskier assassinated to prevent the truth. Okay, so he's an easy target for Nasgard's murder. And soon afterwards, soon after, and attempted to kill his teacher, Magratine. Davros then joins the military elite. later using his scientific skills as he was due. Later using. She's one by one assassinating people so she could be the only person that Davros can admire. No, I'll cut that bit. I'm not sure. However, when her assistant section But when her assistant section leader Fen tricked her into getting into Davros's laboratory. But when her assistant section fuck's sake! They ended up getting exposed to radiation and soon began. During this time, Davros would end up meeting and working. What did I do there? Also, that meeting is spelt wrong. Thank you. Hang on. Despite Shan being in a relationship with a counselor called Valron. Despite her being with. Of course. Actually, cut that bit. It's interesting to note that in the 2003 Big Finish audio, where these events are mentioned, it's worth noting that in the or him learning it from, or it being a second-hand, or somebody like Ronson or Castaval, or being told it by either, or somebody like, or one of his Okay, we're going. However, the 2023 Minisode for Children in Need, these events would. In either timeline, Davros would survive his accident and would develop a way to survive by creating a life support. With the anime, Davros would return. Unfortunately, he would remove positive elements, implicate even more so than than what the Carlis had been experiencing at that point. We finally made it. Good luck with that. This is to prevent them from becoming the most powerful and deadly creatures in the universe. But as events go on, Davros would betray his. The scientific elites that Davros was leading committed a mutiny. It turned out Davros starts to awaken as he senses the Daleks' impending arrival. The 1972. No, it's 1979. Back by the humans in the Muvalan ship back to Earth to answer for his crimes. And taken the 10th Doctor and Yanyuk, that's the niece of Brett Vion and Sarah Kong. Would Davros and the companion, and Davros would be let's do Resurrection of the Daleks whilst we're here at it. In the 1984 story, in the 1984 TV story, Resurrection of the Daleks invade the prison ship Davros is held in order to rescue him and get him to create the Muvalan virus. Shit. I'm starting that again. Which they then proceed to hide. Which they have proceeded to hide somewhere in. The Daleks have also planned to replicate and have captured the 5th Doctor, Tegan and Vizsla Towler, and send them on a mission to assassinate the High Council of Gala. And whilst this is going on, Davros secretly experiments on Daleks to bring them under his control, as well as some Dalek agents. The Doctor then set it off to self-destruct. But by somehow... before eventually being placed and picked up by a different space station until he... who owned and ran the company fuck's sake. Who owned and ran the fuck. And also, it doesn't help that for some reason it's trying... Anyway. Who ran and leading to our... Much like in The Witch's Familiar, this leads to a discussion between the two former M. Much like in The Witch's... Fuck. Davros is also not dying in this, but he is starting to reconcile? Yeah. But he is starting to reconcile on fuck. In the present, Davros begins to gain or as protein into sometime after their business has begun. A knight of the Grand Order of Oberon. Davros, however, managed to take after Kara has... Davros has also come up with a scheme to bring the Doctor and... Davros has also brought with essentially a prank. But whilst visiting, they discovered one of Davros sensing something was afoot. Yeah. They were freed by Orchini and Boskov. They were freed by Orchini and Boskov, but also Davros has the Daleks killed at Autumn G-Day. Yeah. Also Davros has the Daleks... Oh, that's... Yeah. Okay, so there's going to be a few jokes in here after all. The Doctor was recaptured by the Daleks, and he and Perry were brought to travel. The Doctor was... Fuck. Oh, and there's the whole subplot about Tranquil Report. Oh, and there's this whole subplot about him disliking Tranquil Repose. So they kill him right off. And surviving the net and he then sets up and Earth branded. The Juggernauts were in fact cyborgs with human DNA. The Juggernauts were in fact human cyborgs with human DNA. The Juggernauts were in fact cyborgs with human DNA placed into the shells of The Juggernauts were in fact human cyborgs with human... Fucking bastard! You can't say it right! But struggles to convince everyone until Davros confesses to Mel. But struggles to convince everybody about who he really is and destroy his Daleks and Juggernauts. With his chair's self-destruct system blown up. What remains of Skaro is then... What remains of Davros is then taken back to Skaro to stand trial. What remains of Davros... Well, I would say hopefully this time it all works out for the Dalek. Or this time I would... Davros and the Cyber Leader then team up during a Dalek vs Cyberman. So both factions could then get... So both factions could face... So both species could focus on... There's a few accounts of Davros' trial, so it's going to be a bit... There's a few accounts of Well, that's what happens when you have so much expanded media. Well, that's what happens when you have quite a bit of expanded media stories. Sometimes they overlap each other. Right, so firstly, in the six-part 1993 Doctor Who magazine comic, Emperor of the Daleks, Davros is put... Another bloody flushing loo? I don't know if the camera will pick this up. Until the Skaro Daleks arrive and battles ensues. Until the Skaro Daleks arrive and battle ensues. Ensues. Until... Go away. Until the Skaro Daleks arrive and battles in... Oh, I can't speak. And leading Davros... Oh, and also the 7th Doctor, Bernie Samuel... Fuck. There was also the 1995 comic strip. There was also the 1995 Doctor Who magazine comic strip Up Above the Gods, where Davros and the 6th Doctor hanged out in the TARDIS Cruises room. Up. So shows Davros when a foul spy named Lorraine. When a foul spy Lorraine. When a foul spy when a foul spy. Why did I say spile? When I'm trying to reread the sentence, I keep fucking the lines up. I did it right mostly first time. Instead of destroying his creations and becoming a hero, instead of destroying his creations and becoming a hero, Davros betrayed, and the Daleks are impressed with Davros enough to make him, in both time, whilst the renegade, the Supreme Dalek. So a few things happen. Eventually, Davros would lead to the Imperial Dalek Fact 1988's Remembrance of the Daleks. The 1988 TV story Remembrance of the Daleks. Hang on. Davros's plan is to use the weapon as... Davros's plan to use... The military is assisted by the... Damn it. And laying a trap for the renegade Dalek first, and then the latter would take it only for the Doctor to reveal he programmed the Hand of Omega to turn the latter of whom learned that the Doctor had the latter of whom the Doctor would reveal to that he planned. And it looks like there is different accounts of Davros's escape. Firstly, in the 1995 short story, The Shoreditch Incident. Firstly, in the 1995 short story, The Shoreditch Incident. And he was going to hide in there in the until it is discovered by the garbage ship. Until it is discovered by the garbage refuge ship, the Quartel. Until it is discovered by the garbage ship, the Quartels. Oh, for fuck's sake, why can't I say the bloody name? Quartel. But instead, the Hand of Omega. Bloody notifications. Yeah, this story is infamous for trying to explain how Skaro could... Oh, bloody bell. Davros is supposedly sentenced to death by a Mataba, but a Supreme Dalek, an unused concept from the Leakley Bible, perhaps, who he had converted earlier, may have tampered with the execution. And much like Father, Davros escapes, and in the He then goes to the year 2000. He then goes to the Davros's so far. Anyway, they lead a resistance with the threat of the Time Lords being. Davros is rescued by some time-active creatures called the Nekiskitani. During the adventure, the Doctor, so Davros could conquer. The Eighth Doctor having amnesia, you say? Not heard that one before, especially in the post-TV movie timeline. Yeah. However, around this time, Davros' mental state starts to deteriorate. Fuck. However, around this time, Davros' mental state starts to deteriorate. However, around the Emperor of the Daleks, perhaps. If he did not shocking him into eventually losing the last piece of his original persona. And Davros assists the Daleks. He plans to redeem himself using invisibility technology to incorporate them. He then lures the Doctor to Alacracius 4. Yeah. He then sound familiar? Anyway, Davros has the Doctor. But the Doctor has a genius plan to offer his own life if the Daleks kill Davros as well. This is actually kind of out of character for the 11th Doctor. Especially. And considers abandoning the Daleks. And he considers abandoning the Daleks only for the last great Time Lord to death. Fuck. Damn it. Let's see if I can get through this next bit first, because then we're on to Parting of the Way. Stolen Earth. So, Davros took place during the last great Time War, not law, and would not by seeking it in the gates, although it did set using emergency. It resulted in Khan losing his mind, but he rescues Davros and they escape the Time War. It results in Khan losing his mind due to because he broke the time lock back in the future. After escaping, Davros considered and the pause there in the Medusa Cafe from the rest of the universe. And this time they would deliberately keep the Doctor out, away from their plan. Developed by Harriet Jones on behalf of the Mr. Copper Foundation. Of Tortured Free, Mrs. Martha Jones with her mother friends. But when the plan to send a signal to the 10th Doctor, when the plan to send a phone call signal to the 10th Doctor through Mr. Smith and a rift through Cardiff. Oh, go away. Upon the Doctor getting the call, the subwave network was. Upon the Doctor and Donna getting the call, the subwave. And torch. Upon the Doctor and Donna Noble joining the. As Davros predicted, the Doctor would head to Earth to team up with his allies, whom Davros and the Dalek. Oh God. And its test on humanity. Anyway, Metacrisis Doctor he then has his own, which activates her Dr. Donna persona, which she granted. As the Doctor set a connect, Dalek Khan persuades the Metacrisis Doctor to create a Dalek me. Dalek Khan persuades the Metacrisis Doctor to create. Dalek Khan persuades the Metacrisis Doctor to create. Dalek Khan persuades the Metacrisis Doctor to create a Dalekanium, not Dalek Mania. Dalek Khan persuades the. The Doctor attempts to save Davros, but he refuses. Davros seemingly dies with the Dalek Khan. Whilst the Doctor and Davros would then send Colony Staff to Davros would have. Okay, let's pause there because then we can do. We come full circle now with the events of the TV's. We come full circle now with the events of the 2015 story, The Magician. We come full circle now with the events of the 2000. Davros was also able to swim, so he could see sunrise. So he could see Scaro's sunrise run. That included the decaying Daleks in the Dalek series under the planet's surface to rise up and kill the other Daleks. The decaying Daleks would soon destroy. Davros conducts a study on his children and determines that they are still his children and the ultimate life forms in the universe, who shall exterminate every other being, not to surprise everyone. Who shall exterminate every other being as his result, not to surprise, as his result, and not to as his final result, and not to the surprise of anybody else. Now, there are alternative timelines of where they further developed Davros, gave him a 4-part spin-off miniseries, gave him a 4-part prequel miniseries, gave him a 4-part spin-off, and gave the character his own final Evil of the Daleks stuff, and even gave the character his own final end ? And Evil of the end, and even gave the character all before his big comeback on T20. I also can't mention. But when all is said and especially the first 5 classic ones, especially the first 5 in the classic series, which all connect to one another in some way. Especially the first 5 classic series to form a 5-story to create a 5-story narrative, or at the very least a few multiple story arcs that all join together. Emperor of the. Yes, it's incredibly frustrating to watch Davros in Destination. Yes, there being at least 2 Doctors. It's also. Aside from TV and the movies, you've got the books, pros and non-pros. You've got. It is undeniable how big of a. It's not immune to it, as I've already mentioned. But saying that, it is definitely not immune. It is undeniable of a big impact and how much range storytellers have both. And I'm not going to get into the whole debate about Davros having his chair or not, because that came out. I'm not going to get into the debate. That came around that and explained that others oppose him being evil is nothing to do. Him being disabled has nothing to do with him being a villain. He just is. It's a bit it's a bit of fun, but as a character, but going by the character's history and personality, it means absolutely nothing to his real. But going by the character's personality and history, it means nothing. I think there could still be more to do. I think more can still be done with the character. Either way, I think there could be more still to be, especially since the Sixth Doctor's had quite a few. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video on Davros' person. And yeah. And as for those alternative Davroses I mentioned earlier, like the ones who come from and hello, this is Nick from the future of the time of when the other video was recorded. I believe on the 6th of November. Now it's the 17th, so it's 11 days later. So there's some bits I need to refilm, and also a new bit I added as well for fun. So I'm just going to do these. It's going to be a bit loud outside, so I'm going to try and do this as best as I can. Some new bits, okay, or redo bits. But a spider Dalek, an unused concept from the Leakley Bible. Let's go for it. But a spider Dalek, who he converted earlier, may have tempered. Davros would return. Okay, that's the first bit. Okay, this is after Stolen Earth. So that bit was for End of War of the Daleks, before Daleks Among Us. This next bit is after Stolen Earth, Journey's End. Somewhere in this time, Davros and a Dalek appeared during the 2008 Doctor Who proms at the Royal Albert Hall. As is Nicholas Briggs as the voice of the Daleks. So they can... Maybe the Dalek theme from 2005 as well. Maybe the Series 1 Dalek theme as well. But after that, then they go and the proms continue as normal. 2020. So if okay, last bit. I know there was one more. Was that it? Oh, hang on. Oh no, that's that. That's what I just read. Yeah, I think that might be it then. Okay, if that's it, then that's good. Okay. Last bit to redo that I missed the other day because I hadn't highlighted it before, so I didn't notice what I was supposed to redo at the end. So, okay. Not a surprise to anyone. I'll do that again just so I've got a second take. To me, that tongue's sounded very clicky and wet. Davros conducts a study on his children and determines that they are still his children and the ultimate life forms in the universe who shall exterminate every other being. Not a surprise to anyone. I'll do that one more time. Davros conducts a study on his children. Davros conducts a study on his children and determines that they are still his children and the ultimate life forms who shall exterminate every other being. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official The Whoniversals YouTube channel. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne bonus content YouTube channel.